Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So I made some controversial videos recently, and I was right to make them. I'd like to again say that I'm not racist. I accept differences in a way that is fair and just and right, better than anyone that's ever lived. I just tell you the facts. There's been some Jewish people I've come across who are friendly, white people, English people who are friendly and polite, what have you, LGBT people as well. I live in unincorporated Morgan Hill, which is in the Santa Cruz Mountains, okay? And Santa Cruz is a city, likes to project, tolerance historically, right? They like to pretend that they're one of the most tolerant places on the planet. And when I think of it historically, I think of it as the place that tries the hardest in popular culture to accept differences on the planet, except for in the last, maybe 10 years or however long it's been, when I started going there after I was targeted to the extreme, and I started being treated a certain way, okay, which is how I'm treated in every city. And I started to lose respect for Santa Cruz because I tried to kind of dig in there and take a stand against the racist harassment, the sexual harassment, the illegal psychological operations. Because Santa Cruz is also a college town, not just a town with a beach boardwalk, whereas UC Santa Cruz, which is a place that historically is one of the most liberal universities on the planet, at least in popular culture. Now, there's a lot of people in Santa Cruz who try to keep their culture the way it is, in a specific way, which is a form of conservatism, right? It has its problems. But it's important to note that I'm mulatto, I'm part black, part white, as far as I know, part Jewish, okay? I have never been gay bashing in my life. I don't give gay people a hard time, what have you. They came out of left field. And on top of everything else, an unnecessary overkill is the things I'm doing aren't likely to end, the LGBT political agenda or, LGBT politics, right? They're likely to continue regardless of what I do. Okay. People have said that they're better off working around me. Lots of people knew that I wasn't going to budge and that if they keep persecuting me, I'm going to be forced to speak on it. Lots of people knew that if they keep persecuting me, that I'm going to speak on. That's what people do, right? We see that with other people who, I'm targeted, but there's people who claim to be targeted who may or may not be. And you can tell by their consistent responses that the response to persecution is that people make videos, they complain about the people who they think are doing it. So these things are all important to note. It is stupid to look at this thing like it's, like my videos are magically hate speech or something. They're not. Okay. I get angry at times? Yeah, you would too. I've been persecuted all my life for over 4 decades. And since 2011, I've been persecuted to the extreme. And since 2017, even more than that, right? At one point, I was blinded and crippled for several days. Can you imagine that people are ignoring you being harassed in America, which is supposed to regret Klan harassment? And they're harassing you for racist reasons, right? It's racist to try to uphold the social order in a racist country. And every country in the world, for my calculations, is racist. And America is definitely no exception, okay? Racism is a huge problem in law enforcement here. Recently with the Black Lives Matter movement, it was highlighting that. It's a huge problem in the government, in the military, okay, in corporations. There's been laws passed in America like affirmative action because of racism, okay, because of racial discrimination. So to try to uphold the social order is racist as hell. To persecute a black brain surgeon's son and try to suppress him and make it so people don't look up to him in a racist Judeo-white country, okay, with a strong LGBT agenda, no matter how you slice it, right? Hollywood's very influential in entertainment, fashion, okay, gay rights groups, LGBT centers all over the place. They have a strong network, strong, what have you, right? And all these social media sites, they're basically pro-LGBT, Tinder, dating sites, Facebook, what have you. There was times when people had all kinds of rainbow flags on their pages. It's been a while. They probably are still there. Okay, so there's a strong movement there when it comes to the LGBT movement. Okay, so it is heterophobic in a certain way, right? Because they're going after African conceptions of masculinity in their true form. And what you have is a bunch of whitewash forms, fraternity wash forms, LGBT wash forms. And again, I'm not trying to insult anyone in this video. I'm trying to help you understand the situation here. Okay, my videos aren't about bashing white people, Jews, or LGBT people. It's about judging people as individuals and groups according to their deeds and telling the story of what has happened here. And they're probably going to suppress the story, yes. But this story is so important, okay? Even though I'm mad at the world, I'm mad at people, okay? I feel obligated to God and the righteous. And some of the righteous, the righteous are related. It's one big human family, right? So they're related to these people. So I feel like they deserve, even though they deserve to go to hell for cheating me out of my right to lead, it's a story for another day, I feel like they deserve to know what's happened here. And it's part of my moral repetition, It's a form of mercy to make these videos. It's a form of loving not the least of the brethren because they're in rebellion, but loving the enemies, right? So where it makes sense to love your enemies in a form that makes sense, right? Not dating them, not doing what they say, not pretending that they're in the right when they're in the wrong, but where it makes sense, not pretending they're going to go to heaven when they're not, okay? Where it makes sense, in what form it makes sense to, that's how you're supposed to love your enemies. And where it makes sense to turn the other cheek, that's how you're supposed to turn the other cheek. Where it makes sense, where it universally makes sense. If you never read the Bible before, okay, and you refined what is morally sound, that's where it makes sense. Not when someone's about to kill you, not when somebody is trying to beat you up, and so on and so forth. Okay. And you don't let the government walk all over you and the poor and the vulnerable and the susceptible and so on and so forth. It's pretty straightforward. So the most important part in the Bible, I'd like to remind you again, okay, there's two parts. They really connect together, three parts, right? One is first remove the log from your own eye before you remove the speck from your brother's eye. Two is, why don't you judge for yourselves what is right? Three is, stop judging by mere appearances and instead judge correctly. And if you need more kind of guidance besides that, okay, Matthew 25, right? That which you did not do for the least of my brethren, you didn't do for me. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So what the Bible is really saying is you're supposed to take action masterfully. You're supposed to move masterfully in life. And if you think about what kind of person would get this right more than everyone else, it will be a Royal African Falcon martial artist, right? Why? Because martial arts is about cultivating character. So martial arts in any culture are supposed to create people with better character in that culture than people who aren't doing martial arts, okay? Secondly, we know that from the expression of black people, right? Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, it goes beyond other people. It wasn't just one person, it's a bunch of black people who went beyond other races. Again, I'm not racist, these are the facts. So we would expect and we would know that the pinnacle of morality would be in the Royal African Falcon martial art order. And the falcon is a symbol of the King of Kings, is a symbol of flying high in the heavens, of soaring, okay? And the heavens tell the story of humanity, and it tells it every day. But people don't see it that way. And the details, are something that people want to know for nothing else. And they're important. So the sun is the center of the story. The Son of God, me. And at some point, the sun sets, then there's darkness. That's it. Okay? Then there's a bunch of people who pretend to be important, like the stars in the sky. No offense to the stars or the moon or anything else. This is the story that it's telling. And the stars in terms of the actual stars, not the people who are trying to pretend they're important. Okay? They're in the night sky. Darkness is chaotic, it's eerie, okay? There's confusion, what have you, and that's part of the story. That people lose that mental clarity that comes with being right with the Son of God and walking in the light. That's the story it's telling. The Skywalker, the Skywalker, the Son of God, the pinnacle of righteousness and justice, and no one can be righteous while cheating me out of my right to lead. Thank you.